Lunchbox is brought to you by Casa D'Angelo, with locations in Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, and Aventura.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. I hope everybody is staying high and dry. I've got the first part down. No, I am just high on life and caffeine at this point, but I am definitely on flood watch here in my neighborhood, Dania Beach, and I don't know. I see raindrops and possibly dollar signs again there, Jeff. How does it look up in your neck of the woods?
Ugly. This is how dumb and optimistic I am. But I had to take my car to the shop early this morning. I got over to west of Federal Highway, and I'm on Dixie, and it's absolutely opaque outside. You can't see anything. I get to the shop there. I get the ride home, and on the way back, I'm thinking, wow, it doesn't look so bad. Maybe I'll get a quick walk of life in. I lace up my wet sneakers from yesterday when I had to abort the trip. And the minute I walk out the door, literally, I mean, just blanketed with monsoon conditions, not talking gorilla. And it looks ugly here right now. So it's pretty dark outside.
Well, it seems to be a very wide, sweeping path. How about up in Coral Springs there, Lubie?
I mean, we're not flooded. The drainage must be amazing here because we don't really ever flood, but it's definitely been raining. Whatever dry we didn't have, whatever dry we had, they've made up for it the last 2 days because it's constantly rained, whether it's drizzling or now monsooning for 2 straight days.
Yeah, well, I mean, we did get like a little over 2 inches yesterday in, I guess, the area, but it was kind of sporadic and spread out. And, you know, they were predicting end times, build an ark, all that stuff. And overnight, I actually evacuated to higher ground. I went to another location so my car wouldn't get flooded. Came back here right before the show, and of course, as soon as I got back, the heavens just opened, and it is now we're in those deep reds. I'm looking at the Doppler radar. Not to go all Brian Norcross on you there, Defo. We should get Tony Segreto back in here because he's the disaster weather expert too.
He would have enough time to explain what happened in Hurricane Andrew. That's for sure. Can you believe Norcross actually didn't want to be there? That's the funny part about that whole story.
Well, I heard.
I guess there have been documentaries on it, but supposedly, like, was saying, "Well, what do you mean I got to come back?"
Well, didn't somebody bolt one of the other anchors?
Never to be seen or heard from again. I think Tony was mentioning that this morning. That was wild because so many years in a row they had shown us the Hurricane Camille footage where they had the one stop sign blowing in the wind, and they would tell you, "Oh my God, it's going to be awful. Be ready." And you started to get the boy that cried wolf syndrome. It's like, what do you mean? I'd lived here 10 years. There was nothing. Yeah. And sure enough, when we saw the carnage that took place and the catastrophic results of Hurricane Andrew, when that first aerial came up of Homestead, my God, the realization finally hit that maybe we needed to heed these warnings. But this isn't in that category.
No, this is not wind.
Tornado watch or something going on?
You know, I haven't gotten any of those warnings or watches. All I've got is the flood warning, flood watch, and the waters are starting to rise in the streets of my neighborhood because once we get the spigots opening and we get that like 2 to 3 inches an hour and we get 6 or 7 inches in a quick thing, it gets a little nerve-wracking for me. And as soon as the show is over, look, this is supposed to be part one of a 2-part doubleheader. We're supposed to be at J&C Oyster later in the day for their official grand opening ribbon cutting. I did check with the people involved that it was still on as of 11:30, but obviously conditions can change. Defo, you're excused with your car in the shop, but
I don't know that I'm going to get it back today. That's
fine.
I did have a thing though on your theory from yesterday where you thought you were getting robbed by the dealership. Same repair, they quoted me $1,000 at the dealership I was at, this Morgan Automotive Group. $650 at the Mad Hatter. Always much more fair.
There you go.
The
Well,
Mad Hatter on Dixie Highway. I recommend the guy. Usually gives you an honest count.
again, Mayor Josh Levy, whose family is no longer involved with the Hollywood Kia dealership. I will give him props for putting in the good coffee machine, which was probably under their auspices when they were running the show. The Illy Italian brand coffee espresso cappuccino machine was excellent while I was waiting 4 hours for my car yesterday. I'm glad it was yesterday because today it would have been impossible to get around. But be that as it may, we will see. Hopefully, we can get out there for the show. Hopefully, I'll be, obviously the show will go on. The question is, will I need a rowboat to escape my house later this afternoon? I will be fleeing actively as soon as the broadcast ends at 2:00 and head down to JNC, which again, great place. And 2035 Harrison Street. There will be some festivities. The mayor of Hollywood, Josh Levy, will be there with some other officials, along with the owner, Caesar, and the two chefs, Raheem and Monica, and of course, the sous chef who was on the show with us last month. I just remember him as George, but he goes by a different Monica, right? That's
George Dossie.
Dossie is his
name.
handle, Chef Dossie.
Yeah,
And it's going to be a good time. If we can, get in there, we'll be able to definitely drown our sorrows as it's drowning outside. I am very thankful, though, for flood insurance, and policy remains in effect through July 12th. I got to make my next premium payment before July 12th, but look at the calendar. It's only June 12th, so I got a full month of flood coverage left, Defo. At some point, they're going to throw me out, but this is why
After a while, it becomes unbelievable. You may be facing 34 counts or so sometime soon.
This is all legit. I have the receipts, and this is what's wonderful about the federal flood insurance program. They can't throw you out. It's a federally subsidized program that is deep underwater. Can't see how.
Yes, exactly.
But,
It's unfortunate they never figured out drainage here in South Florida. I don't know why that wasn't addressed before the problem became as ridiculously hazardous.
To get all involved in the whole climate change and rising seas, I did see a very interesting piece in the Washington Post that published in the last couple of days about as much as governments and municipalities try to deal with better drainage and building new pumps and sewage. It's kind of a cat and mouse game because the Post focused on this one town in North Carolina that's similar to the barrier island here in Hollywood, where even when it's bone dry and sunny outside, when you get the king tides, water comes up from the sewer system and the ground and cracks in the ground. And all of a sudden, roadways just become flooded and impassable on a day where there's not even a drop of rain. It's coming up because of the rising seas, places that are located close to the coastline. So even when officials build new drain pumps or higher walls, things are coming up from underneath. And I don't know what, it doesn't bode well for my property value in about 99 years, but maybe I'll just get the hell out of here this year. So. And you're on the barrier island there too, there, Defo. So
it's not too bad. I don't know. Our place floods I guess you would call it the roadways into the Ocean Bay Club. They will be completely flooded. But, I mean, people were saying, hey, we needed this rain. We don't need this much of it, though. If it stopped now, and I'd be okay with it.
But we usually get a week like this in June. This is kind of back to the typical pattern where, it becomes the rainy season. We might get a couple of thunderstorms in May. And then we usually get that one really downpour, dreary, week in June. And this is where we are. But like you said, we don't. I hope it stops soon. I hope we don't get any of this biblical 20. Again, remember last April in my neighborhood and parts of Fort Lauderdale, there were 24 inches of rain in less than 7 hours.
Oh,
and there ain't no pump or drainage system in the world that's equipped to handle that. That's just one of those, what they call once every 1,000-year floods, except now they're coming every year. So good luck to us all. I'm going to keep drinking my coffee. Soon I might be switching to bourbon, and JNC will have a good happy hour. But of course, the big news of the day. Well, first of all, condolences to all people in the Lakers organization, NBA fans. Jerry West, true icon. I mean, the literal definition of an icon, because he was on the NBA brand logo, with his crossover dribble there. But Jerry West passed away this morning. Do you have any Jerry West stories? Because I know you worked out there on the.
I did encounter Jerry West. He was always a first-class individual, kind of reserved. If you read or have seen anything, documentaries or whatever pieces on him on TV, he was abused by his father and had zero confidence for the longest period of time. As a young basketball fan growing up, I started really enjoying basketball at the age of 11 or 12 when I moved to Long Island. It became like the game there. And even though we hated the Lakers, so we were Knick fans, you couldn't help but respect. We had nothing but respect for the greats of the game. And Jerry West was all of that. Mr. Clutch, well-deserved moniker that he had for all of his career and throughout his life. Became a really top-notch executive also. But man, what a basketball player. The only guy in NBA history ever to win the MVP of the finals, the championship round of the NBA playoffs on the losing team. The only guy ever to do it.
Wow.
That's how great this guy was.
That takes some special talent.
Yeah.
You think Connor McDavid is going to be in the same boat? No, because Connor McDavid has been blanked along with.
It never
he had an
happens. I
assist.
mean, it's an automatic. Whoever team, even if they can't figure out who was the most valuable, they give it to somebody on the winning team. But,
How could
West
you
was
be
such
so
a standout
valuable
that they gave him the trophy for MVP, even though this team lost.
That is quite the accomplishment. Was he portrayed nicely on the?
No,
whatever
that was a
Showtime-
terrible portrayal. That winning time, that was a disgrace.
Talk about him like that. I mean,
that whole, what was it called? The whole Showtime
Winning time.
Winning time
Yeah.
on.
He
then it
and
was
Pat
HBO
Riley took the
now.
short end of the imaging that they were creating about
They turned
the way
people
they
into-
personified these guys.
They didn't just turn people into caricatures; they turned them into buffoons, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all foolish. And
West, there's no way he was this kind of an asshole. There's just no way.
Yeah.
like Jerry West, I know in his playing days, like was very competitive, but they made it seem like even after he was regaled as like a great executive almost instantly. Like he was the way, that show did not portray the guy that the world knew.
Yeah, it's bizarre, but these things happen when things get, dramatic treatments. Hey, let's move on to the real big sports story of the day. I don't know if it's sports or if it's food or it's both, but you broke it yesterday. You sent me that text, Defo, in the afternoon about one Joey Chestnut being banned from the upcoming Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Your reaction and what's your view of the whole thing?
Well, there's so many aspects to this thing. I mean, it's amazing. Lubie and I interviewed Joey Chestnut. We didn't realize how sophisticated, how deep, how involved mentally it was to being one of these pro eating contests, because he was talking about the collapse of Kobayashi, who, of course, really put the hot dog eating contest on the map. I mean, it was a thing. You would see a little bit of it. But when Kobayashi, you need stars. This is why leaving Caitlin Clark off the Olympic team is a disgrace, whether she deserved to be on there because she's one of the top 12 players or not. She's damn close to it.
It was a no-brainer.
You want to have your stars on these occasions as a marketing tool, if nothing else. I mean, and no one's going to complain if she made the team.
How pissed
you can't have this 4th of July contest at Nathan's without having either Kobayashi, who eventually was eclipsed by Joey Chestnut. This is the only reason to watch this stuff. Except to maybe go back to your memory bank about Coney Island.
He's won like 16 out of the last 17. And 8
but I mean,
row.
From a betting standpoint, this is very much a chalk league, this pro eating competition. Who wins? The same two people
Everybody
every
has
year.
their specialties. Some people's specialties are hot dogs and wings. Some people do the meatballs.
But
I
Chestnut
think
was the whole, star of this thing. So how do you not have him on the contest just because he's eating? And then it brings up the whole topic that you're always into, whether or not this phony meat is worth eating or exploring.
Well, okay. So my initial reaction was, okay, so just to frame it, apparently Joey Chestnut has signed an endorsement deal with Impossible Meats, which makes all this fake meat, vegan meat, ground beef for hamburgers. And now I guess they have a hot dog product. They have a sausage product. My initial reaction was, all right, let Joey Chestnut go and have a one-man contest and see how many vegan hot dogs he could eat. And I would say no human could really eat more than 5 or 6 without then vomiting profusely everywhere, because those things are disgusting. They're manufactured in a lab with all kinds of chemicals and substances that you can't even pronounce. But no, and then as I reflect back, couple of things. I mean, first of all, does everybody? Yes, everybody wants to see if he could eclipse his own records. I think the record is 75 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes, usually dunked in fruit punch, which in and of itself is a complete grotesque thing. But he's really only competing against himself in this thing. Nobody could stand up. This makes it a little intriguing, like who's going to be the new one to wear the crown. But it's like, if all you're hitting is 25 home runs to win the league in a given year when the champ was, batting out 75 home runs a year. So I don't know what the terms of his Impossible Dog contract or Impossible Meat contract is, if they had granted him dispensation to still compete in the Nathan's hot dog contest. From what I read, it seemed like the Nathan's people were not happy because they don't want somebody who's associated with another brand, much less a vegan hot dog, to be competing in their contest. But I do know this: George Shea, the Shea brothers are the ones who kind of run this Nathan's hot dog eating contest. They are masters of publicity. And could you imagine any more way to pump up interest?
Oh, he'll come out. Oh, that's true. He may come. He may be like some wrestling crap.
He'll come back. He'll make a last minute deal. He'll junk Impossible Foods, the Nathan's conglomerate, which I think the same company now owns Nathan's and Hebrew National. But it might be this dramatic last minute thing where he comes out. And what I really want to see, though, is him, like Joey Chestnut, just say screw you to the Nathan's people, because he could set up a table on the edge of the boardwalk in Coney Island there on the same day at noon on July 4th. I say he should strike a deal with like Sabret's, the rival hot dog that is on the New York push carts, and also Impossible, and like back to back, he should like try to down 40 of each and like eat 80 hot dogs, including 80 vegan, 40 vegan. I don't know. He should just he could have weekly contests. 1 week eat Sabret's hot dogs, 1 week eat Impossible dogs, make all the money he can from all the other sponsors he can, and tell Nathan's to take a flying leap. But I don't know. We'll see. Lubie, any of your thoughts?
No, I'm curious. I need to read more into it, because first it came out that it was Nathan's, and I guess it makes sense if they're pushing hot dogs. They don't want the guy promoting something else, but I think that's dumb. I didn't know you even have to have sponsorships. And then on top of that, but then we hear that it's like the Polyman, a longtime friend of ours, great broadcaster in his own right, came on this morning, and he was talking about how the vegan people were giving him all these stipulations that he was gonna have to eat vegan, and it's like I don't even know what that would do.
That's a great philosophical question, Defo. If somebody paid you $1 million to go vegan, would you and could you?
I'm a vegan at that point. Yeah. I give consideration to it all the time anyway, but because your health obviously is your biggest consideration. And the thing that you really need to pay the most attention to, it doesn't dawn on people while they're shoveling 70 hot dogs in their face necessarily, but for $1 million, yeah, that would be enough for me.
Look, I don't mind the vegans that are like being healthy and are eating things like kale and fresh grown vegetables and fruits, but some of these lab produced products have more sodium and definitely not as much cholesterol or fat, but they have well, actually, in some of these cases, they do have more fat because they're using other kind of substitutes, including coconut oils and things like that. So it's not necessarily any healthier to down 70 vegan hot dogs as opposed to 70 all beef hot dogs. But if somebody's going to pay me, I guess, just point me in the direction of what I got to eat, and I'll sign on the dotted line. I mean, it worked for Jared with Subway. Ate nothing but Subway subs until he went to the clink. Because anyway, well, let's see. Let's take our first break so we can get business out of the way early, and then we'll come back and have some other items on the agenda. And but first, I want to talk about our friends at Tropical Acres, because it is it's not half price wine night anymore, but it is Wednesday, and that means it's fine time to go in there for happy hour. You get all the half price drinks at the bar from 4:30 to 6:30. But the big item on the calendar this week and month is Father's Day. This Sunday, the 16th, they will be open for dads and anybody else who wants to come along. Give them a call at 954-989-2500. Father's Day service 3 to 8 p.m. A little bit limited hours for dad, but get in there and get some of your favorites, including the prime rib and the filet mignon. They've got rack of lamb. They do have the twin lobster specials during the week at $39 with salad inside. But on Sunday for Father's Day, they'll have limited quantities available, slightly higher prices on the holiday. This is the last Sunday of the year that Tropical Acres will be open.
Oh, wow.
Because usually they are closed on Sundays, and there are no more Sunday holidays this year. So get in there while you can and tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, Soggy Edition of Lunchbox continues in a moment.
Jesus.
From a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar. A great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. Best restaurants in South Florida? Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. If you're looking for an exquisite sushi experience, Kaizen Sushi Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale is the place to go. 5640 North Federal Highway, just north of Commercial Boulevard. Chef owner Hui Lam, he's a sushi savant, slicing and serving pristine fish and seafood flown in directly from Japan and around the world. Nigiri, sashimi, special rolls, and omakase dinners. He's ruined me from going anywhere else. It's that good. Open 7 days for dinner and also for lunch. Even if you're not a sushi fan, they have great cooked options, including steaks, chops, rice and noodles, and other Japanese dishes. It's fantastic. For reservations and information, go to kaizenflorida.com. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox, and things have gotten dramatically worse here. I was just on the phone with Kip Hunter, the PR person for JNC and Caesar, and we're reassessing things because of downtown Fort Lauderdale apparently is flooded.
Oh,
Las
flooded,
Vegas has
yeah.
become impassable, and my block in just the 20 minutes since we've been on the air has gone from pretty much dry up front to now it is a river. I will send you
Oh,
guys a
jeez.
picture.
Oh,
And yeah, so I'm getting a little bit jittery. I think it is time to break out the bourbon, but anyway, I had a interesting day. Well, yesterday after the auto repair, I stopped off for us. Well, I stopped off at one of my favorite places, Mimi's Ravioli in Hollywood. I hadn't been in there in a while, but has great pastries, some of the best cannolis this side of Little Italy and north end of Boston. And but some people have been mentioning the pizza there, and since the Sun Sentinel is doing this pizza competition, I wanted to check it out. And they have these little homemade slices, pies that they make, including a grandma pie they call it, even though it's in round form. Usually, you see grandma pies in square form, but I wanted to try one of those, and I did. It was excellent, light and fluffy, and I don't know if it's not going to get enough support because it's such a specialty shop and tucked away in one location that I don't think it's going to get to the final five, but it was good. The other thing that happened was I picked up a sub, and this is where we get into the whole, I guess, clarity, communication, and they had a menu board for like different heroes or subs, whatever you call them. Chicken parm, meatball parm. They don't have like the regular Italian cold cut sub, but they listed a prosciutto and mozzarella, and I requested one of those, and on semolina bread. And I asked, instead of like lettuce and tomato, I like those sweet roasted peppers. The woman said there would be an extra charge for those because that's whatever separate premium item. I said, okay. And then I go to the register to pay, and they ring up a $3.50 for a slice of pizza, which is fair enough. It was printed on label. Guess how much the sub was when they rang it up? All things considered, including the prosciutto and mozzarella with some roasted red peppers plus tax.
What size was this thing?
That's what I asked when I saw the number.
Oh, really? Wow.
The woman said 7 inches, which was incorrect. It's actually a 12-inch sub. It's a good size sub.
So
when you
nice
cut it in two, you end up getting
So you're talking about a large sub.
large sub, enough to
okay.
feed like 2 or 3 people. You could eat 2 meals out of it.
18?
So the sub itself without the peppers was $17.99, $18. But the peppers they charge $4.75 because apparently they weigh them out and they cost whatever they are, like $14 a pound. But when you tallied it all up, including the tax, it came out to $24 and change
For a sub. Oh, God.
And I had sticker shock, and I'm not one to like usually complain about that, but my first reaction was like, just take it away. I don't even want it anymore, because at that point the sub hadn't materialized. They were still making it, but I just went to the register to ring it up, and then I thought about it and I said, no, wait, this could turn into Let's Eat South Florida Gold. So, so I said, you know what, bring me the sub. But it was good. But at the register, when I started venting, I said, you really should have prices on the menu board, so like I know what I'm in for. I said, I never in my wildest dreams figure I'm going to pay more than $20 all in, tax included, for a sub. And then the cashier started saying, well, these are all premium products. The prosciutto is Italian imported. It goes for $28.99 a pound. And the mozzarella is made in-house, and that's $18.99 a pound. And, the bread is baked in-house. I was like, okay, but still, it just seems like I just never in a million years expected like a $24 sub. But I guess this is the times we're living in, and I ate the sub. It's pretty good.
When do they charge? Like Las Patas gives you whatever toppings you want, right? Isn't that the big thing at Las Patas? They love the sweet peppers, like Defo.
Yeah, you imagine that some things are included, but the counter woman was clear that those sweet roasted peppers are an additional charge. I just figured, when you're putting peppers on a sub, it'll be $2 or $2.50. $4.75 was just not what I was expecting. And again, I've turned into everything I hate on
I was
Fruit
gonna say, am I getting
Depot.
this much?
But it was just the whole thing of just I think just if you post your prices on the menu board and just say when the certain things are going to be extra weighed by the pound, that's it. If I knew it was 17.99, I might have just stuck with the lettuce and tomato and not gone for the fancy peppers. But live and learn. And but it was excellent, the mozzarella and peppers. So. In any event, that concludes that rambling dissertation. I'm very, I guess, out of sorts because now I
I
see.
feel like you're stressing out. That picture you sent us, I think I want to put it up like last
Yeah,
year.
go ahead. Go
Your
ahead.
area is freaking crazy, man. Like I feel I don't even want to show you what my area looks like
I want
because
to see what your area looks
it's
like.
not like there's barely like I've still been walking, but put it this way, because my dog needs to be walked like 5 times a day. Whenever it slows down, I walk him. That's how it still is over here. People are still walking dogs. I'd be scared to drive in what the hell you just sent us. Like, it's so weird, like where you are. Like,
if I back out, okay, and you can see now that my like the water is now like not halfway up the wheels of the car, but I have an SUV, so it's a little bit higher. But if it gets over those doors, then we're in trouble. But right after the show, I am going to boogie out of here and hopefully drive to the west. It's a little bit drier when I go to Federal Highway, and just get the heck out of Dodge because I don't even care anymore. I don't have a mother sitting here anymore, so I don't have to worry about any other people leaving them behind. So let's see what else we got going on. I went out to dinner last night, Defo, and it was to a Italian restaurant across the street from what used to be Valentino's, and it was actually the original home of Valentino's in Fort Lauderdale. It's now called Osteria Acqua e Farina. And it's a cozy little Italian restaurant. And it was a nice crowd in there last night. And I ran into somebody who is actually related to one of our great sponsors and great restaurateurs by the name of Eddie Pizzoli. And it's his cousin named Ed Pizzoli, who is a high-powered attorney in town. And I used to actually be on some of the Sunday morning news talk shows with him because he was associated with one of the parties, and actually the Republican Party of Broward County. But this was back 10, 15 years ago. And it was good to run into him. And I texted Eddie and I said, hey, I ran into your namesake. But Osteria Acqua e Farina is they have some pizzas, they have some pastas, and we had a really nice dinner with that included. This is, I guess, something that maybe is on the adventurous side, but how do you feel about chicken livers and pasta with onions, sage, and brown butter?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah, that's a quick pass. That's delicious.
Italian? Like, but I'm saying, is this like hardcore, like real deal out of Italy? Like, is that where I've never heard of that? They're here. I've never heard of that dish.
It's a dish that my friend Giovanni used to do also at Valentino when he was operating it across the street, and it's kind of like I don't know. It's got a little bit of a richness to it. Obviously liver is it's a thing that is not to everybody's liking, but it's chicken liver. So it's like, imagine chopped liver around the Passover table, except it's fried up in, kind of form with a lot of onions. So you get that good sweet caramelization of the onions along with the liver and some brown butter and sage. And I thought it was absolutely delicious. But all the other pastas are at like $28, $34, the linguine and clams. The pork chicken liver pasta, $20.
Oh, there you go. Well, you
got a deal on that.
You got a deal on it.
Cheaper than my lunchtime. So
there might be a reason that it was a total discrepancy from the rest of the price list.
It doesn't sell.
Could it be because it sucks? I don't know. You liked it though. You liked it.
I wouldn't say it sucks. Yeah. It's just one of those things that's not on a lot of people's flavor profiles. They see liver and they run the other way. Which
I'm amazed at a degenerate gambler like you, who's always talking about how the bookies are trying to tempt you to bet a certain side because you have what looks like a blatant error in the point spread, that you wouldn't look at the price list on a menu and see the same thing. they obviously had to get rid of these chicken livers before they went bad.
I don't think chicken livers ever go bad. That's the
No, I don't know.
issue.
How could they? Right, they're already bad.
They're already a internal organ that's.
So, what was your review of this chicken liver dish?
I like.
Should people run over there and order that, and then on top of that, they're going to get a pretty light tab and calculate the tip accordingly, saying, "Hey, I got a hell of a deal on the food here, so I'm going to tip even more generously than the usual numbers would equate out to."
Yeah, we did a couple of other dishes. We had a snapper that was with Florentine, where it was served with some spinach and mashed potatoes, and that was excellent piece of fish. And they also had one of those mushroom, like a tartufo pizza, where it's like a white pizza with kind of fancy mushrooms and some truffle oil on it. Val always likes that. And the crust on this pizza was good because it wasn't like typically the Neapolitans are very thin and kind of soupy in the middle. This one was like more like but it wasn't like a New York thin, crispy, or New Haven. It wasn't cracker-like crust. It was like a puffy, doughy crust where you can like peel it away, and it was like almost like pastry-like, very soft, pillowy, and it was good for dunking in the other sauces. The crust using that. But anyway, it was nice to get in there. It was one of these cozy spots. It only seats about 50 people, and it's been around there. It's been there for actually ever since the original Valentino moved across the street, which I'm guessing is about 12 years ago. And I believe it was a cousin of Giovanni Rocchio's that opened it up, and his brother worked there for a little bit. I don't know if he still works there or not, but I guess it's just been there for a while, but one of those kind of hidden gems, or just people don't really think of it that often. But obviously we're blessed with such great Italian food in town. We got Runway 84. We're going to hope to get in there sometime next month. And of course, today's title sponsor, Casa D'Angelo, which is just a glorious place to celebrate any occasion of birthdays, anniversaries, retirements, graduations. Go into Casa D'Angelo. There's 3 locations: Aventura, where Giovanni Rocchio is now the executive chef, doing his magic with pasta and other things. And then, of course, the main, the flagship location. It's been open for 25 years at Federal Highway 1201 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, along with the Boca Raton location on East Palmetto Park Road. All 3, again, impeccable ingredients, great service, just a class atmosphere. Go into Casa D'Angelo and tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, more coming up. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox on this soggy Wednesday in a moment.
One of the best restaurants in Broward, J&C Oyster in downtown Hollywood. At 2035 Harrison Street, this place is fantastic and worth a drive. It's got creative, cutting-edge seafood and more with an Asian twist and gorgeous cocktails. Chefs Raheem Seeley and Monica Dominguez cut their teeth at some of Miami's best restaurants. Don't miss some of these fantastic dishes, including grilled oysters, fried chicken, and the Thai red curry crab. Open Wednesday through Sunday for dinner with daily happy hour and outdoor seating. Go to jncoyster.com for reservations and information. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. Are you looking for a good New York style slice? How about lunch specials for under $9 that come with garlic rolls and a fountain drink? I'm talking about Stromboli Pizza Kitchen in the Fountains of Plantation, 801 South University Drive. Since 1987, it's been home to Brooklyn-style pies and slices, heroes and paninis, pastas, and all your Italian-American favorites. It's got the unpretentious vibe of the pizza places of my youth, with daily specials, family dinners, outdoor seating, eat-in, carry-out, or delivery. Open 7 days a week. Go to strombolispizza.com to place your order today. Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox, Mayo, and Defo sent you.
And there's not even there.
It didn't look good there. Is he underwater? He's out there with a broom.
I'm like, why isn't he starting?
Maybe he can't get back in. I just saw a AAA truck. I mean, if that's any indicator of the conditions out there, pulling up in the backyard.
Were you lost, Mayo?
That looks ugly.
Oh no, I'm just assessing things. The water is now over the pool and the patio area, so it's the patio has flooded again. And next stop, the interior of the house. So hopefully, it doesn't rain too much more in the next 24 hours. It gets time to drain. Front, I just sent you some video now. The water has risen more in the street again, and it's now halfway up my car tires. I don't think I could get out of this block now. I think I'm officially stranded. And we're going to just see, hopefully, well, we'll see. We'll assess if things drain at all. The rain has stopped here, so thank goodness for that. But, man, this is, well, it's part of the fun of living in a tropical climate when it's rainy season, so that's it. I don't really know what else has been making waves in the world at large, food world, or let's eat. I'm a little bit discombobulated again today, but the Joey Chestnut thing, obviously, is he an all-American hero? Do people kind of love this guy for what he's done, or are they just kind of marveling that he can just cram that much disgusting food down his
That's the thing.
throat in 10 minutes?
I've always been, and Defo was enamored by him, and we had him on, and he was really fun. When we had him on, I can't lie. Like he really got a lot of the jokes and went along with it in a way I didn't think he would. And he's actually in really good shape. I saw him in person at an event, and he's actually in really good shape. But I've also always been sort of disgusted by it. Like I've never been able to just because the way it's not like he eats a hot dog delicately. He shoves it down his freaking throat after dunking it in liquid, and he does that like. Used to be 50 to 60 times. Now it's up to almost 80 times. I've never understood how people watch that. Like, I've never been able to watch the contest because I'm like, it's just people living in gluttony. And that's something I try. As much as we eat on the show, I try to actually, in my personal life, stay away from that. And it feels like literally that whole thing is just celebrating gluttony. And it's like, I don't know if that's what we should be doing. That's all. So I don't know what to do with him. Like, I like the guy, and I think what he did is impressive, and it's very rare, and it is a talent and a skill. But like, I've never known where to put him because it's.
I wonder what the long-term effects are because how with NFL players you didn't realize all about the things with CTEs and concussions and the shortened life expectancy. Like some of these competitive eaters, is anybody tracking? Are there researchers tracking what this does to them overall? I mean, look at me. I mean, I don't stuff 60, 70 hot dogs, and I just go around continuously eating too much, and I'm in no great shape now either, but it just it's fascinating to me. I mean, you could call the guy Frankenfurter instead of Frankenstein. He just he's a monster. And the other thing I said is this thing though is a lesson in it's a dog eat dog world out there, and don't bite the brand that feeds you. And so I've got no other bad puns at this point, but Nathan's is really what put him on the map. So does he owe anything to them? Should he be loyalty? All these concepts that we see in team sports. Who would have thunk it that we now see it in the world of competitive eating?
I think the contracts in that professional eating, I saw some piece on that, are pretty onerous. Very much like radio contracts were always, for the most part, or when you read the standard principles and clauses, you realize that you just literally have no ownership of your life anymore and may never be able to work again. So, I don't. This is the way of the world, and we're seeing it in all sports. I mean, is Caitlin Clark? She's making $1 zillion may be a little bit of jealousy there on the side of some of the other WNBA veterans, but what the hell? It's going to help everybody in the long run. I mean, without Joey Chestnut, who gives a flying one about this eating competition? Nobody. And the 4th of July, they may as well just make it the 5th or the 6th at this point for Nathan. So they were taking advantage of him. I mean, everybody's playing everybody. And I think he got a very lucrative deal from the Impossible people. That was to the tune of 2 or 3 times what they were offering him from Nathan's to have an appearance fee. So don't blame him at all. I think when you're the best in the world at what you do, I don't care what it is, it's a distinction, and there's a fascination with the idea of being able to eat like that.
Yep.
And not be the size of that guy in The Whale, which that's a hard movie to watch. I'm wildly entertained by the 10 minutes of the hot dog eating contest. And, this guy was not just head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, he was Jerry West compared to, watching Adam Sandler play basketball. He was unbelievable compared to the other eaters.
Yeah, no, and you just wonder, who's waiting in the wings, because Joey Chestnut came along and knocked off Kobayashi, and that, it kind of just ruined
He crushed
Kobayashi.
him, literally.
He crushed his soul and his spirit and his whole, reason for being. He was never the same again. And nobody's really come along. There was that one year, I guess, Chestnut had some sort of virus, and he just wasn't, it's like a horse who maybe, has a spike.
He was no Michael Jordan. Remember when Jordan was schwitzing like a maniac there against the Utah Jazz after the bad pizza?
Yes.
Chestnut should have been able, if he was that kind of champion, an all-time great, he should have been able to overcome that, no?
Yeah. So, look, again, this is a drama that I'm sure is going to be milked for maximum publicity for all
I think
sides.
you're right. I think he's going to do some wrestling type stuff and like rip up whatever and come out and do the thing. Like it actually says, it feels like it sets up for him to still be doing this freaking thing.
They're talking about it on Good Morning America, for God's sake. I mean, it's incredible. Nobody would give a fly on how far down the totem pole is professional eating. And yet Chestnut, he is the face of the sport and the belly of the sport. So, they need him as much as he needs them. If not, he may hold the leverage here. The more interesting thing is, and you're not a fan of the Impossible Burger or meat, and probably correctly pointing out about its being laboratory manufactured. But I remember when the craze for veggie burgers first started, and what happened to this? Didn't people offer in restaurants like black bean burgers of some sort?
Right.
And it wasn't like they were trying to completely imitate a burger taste or the composition and the constitution of meat, so you would feel like you're eating that way. And I would say this, any vegans that I know, a lot of them don't want any of this imitation stuff because they just don't like the principle of eating things that, sort of taste like chicken or whatever. But what happened to those? I mean, they used to be offered pretty much on every menu that was going in that direction. That was trying to diversify for vegetarians, but I don't see them as frequently anymore. Everybody's got like the Impossible version or whatever.
Yeah, I think what happened was in the vegan community, they got sick of eating things that were vegetables that were fashioned to replicate meat. And they wanted something that had more of like the taste and texture of meat, including like blood. And these products now, they actually manufacture like fake blood. And the meat, the fake meat actually like sweats a little when it fries up and gives off some juices and fat and things that they, again, formulate in a lab. If you ever look at the ingredient list on an Impossible Burger, it's impossible to pronounce. But a
lot of chemicals, yeah. I mean, it was like the awakening I had. I think we talked about this maybe a while back on the show. When I thought I was doing myself a favor by drinking tomato juice instead of a soda or whatever, or some kind of other sugary juice on airplane rides, and I'd order the tomato juice. And then one day they handed me the whole can, and I read the ingredients because I was bored out of my mind, obviously. And I'm thinking, my God, this is a bigger sodium bloodbath than you would get if you ate at every restaurant on Bourbon Street in one day.
Yeah.
So how are you helping yourself? I don't know if a V8 falls into that category, but I would imagine it's similar. And so you're thinking you're doing yourself a favor and going in a healthy route, and instead you're doing something that may as well have a skull and crossbones on it and putting it in your system.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to eat healthy, and
fruits and vegetables would probably be the number one thing. Salad, have a few salads.
This is what the people in the food world and some of these nutritionists and people writing books are saying. unprocessed foods, like things are
Yeah, yeah, that's
not adulterated or manufactured or tampered with in a lab.
Nothing in a
Um,
can or a box.
Nothing in a
that's
can
the
or a
thing.
box, nothing with preservatives. Like if it comes out of the ground, like a strawberry, that's great. Grapes, fruits, vegetables, those are all wonderful things. And even like if you get some good, organic eggs and grass-fed beef and things that not been I used the word polluted, but polluted with
Yes.
additives and some of the antibiotics that are given to animals to make them bigger and beef them up. No added hormones. If you have some lean meat, that's nice and well the way it was raised. That everything in moderation, and don't eat 70 hot dogs in one sitting, whether they're vegan or all beef, and you might be on the road to better health. But I don't know. Got to give the guy props though, because he was a freak of nature, and it
Yeah, well,
was
what was interesting about him is he didn't, and that's what we try to tell you about this show, is he trained for that contest, but he actually ate. I remember watching like I don't know if it was a documentary, something on him, and like he ate really healthy. He like exercised religiously. Like it was actually the opposite of the whale. Like he was a guy that actually, quote unquote, treated his body like a temple, and then before these contests would train for the contest, and then go back to regular life. Like because if he ate anything like this in normal life, he would die. He would have died by the age of 30. Like he didn't eat every day like these contests. Like he actually, that's what I guess took him to another level. A lot of you'd see on these contests, a lot of these overweight guys and these big husky guys who try to eat the 48-ounce steak at Shula's. Like he didn't live, like he was the opposite. Like he was in good shape. He took good care of himself and he treated it like a sport. Like he literally trained and did trials and timings, and then outside of that took care of himself in a way that he could live, because he's in good health. Like I don't think he's in a guy that has like high cholesterol or any of that crap. So like he treated this as an offshoot from his daily life.
Well, I guess if you do the contests and competitions in moderation, that's one way to do it also. All right, well, that's to be continued. Hey, let's take our, before we take our last break of the day, well, first of all, we're going to be at Batch tomorrow, and I always put in the good word about Kevin, and Brandon will be able to make his debut tomorrow. Batch 525 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. Tonight is Whiskey Wednesday, and if I get my kayak and I could paddle up Federal Highway, I might be downing whiskey by the bottleful later today after JNC. But yeah, go there at 525 North Federal Highway. They have live music Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They have great weekend brunches. They have again the things like shrimp and grits. Yeah, Wednesday through Friday live music, and the Whiskey Wednesday with their whiskey education classes. Again, hashtag drink for the kids. They have all kinds of good philanthropic endeavors. We love Batch, and they got free parking in the garage next door, including on higher levels, which you might need today. But go in there and tell them the Lunchbox sent you. They do a great job at Batch, and can't wait to finally get Brandon on the show with us on Thursday, weather permitting. All right,
Rave reviews too on Batch all over your Let's Eat South Florida.
they are. That is.
Well,
All right.
funny is my dad pulled a Mayo, and my dad, after writing a glowing thing, said and he went back and forth with a guy. So the only issue is it's hard to find. And I'm like, it's not. You sound like it's not hard to find. First of all, with GPS, everywhere's easy to find. Second, no, the address says Federal Highways, and it's to get into it, you have to make a right turn or a left turn. Those of you, it's easy to find. It's off of Federal Highway and 5th. Robert Lubitz. Don't listen to Robert Lubitz. He's a raving lunatic. I love him with all my heart. But like this one guy was like, no, it's not hard to find. He's like, yes, it is. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, why would you tell people, don't go? It's hard to find. like, what's wrong with you? It's not hard to find. It's very easily accessible, and there's free parking.
And I say there's no better place in town for Southern cuisine and whatever you're looking for, even on the lighter side. They got good salads and other offerings for summertime swimsuit season. All right, let's take our final break, and then I'll try to maybe get out of here. Probably stuck, but we'll see. We'll learn more after these words on the Lunchbox. Prezzo Italian Restaurants, 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail, and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days, featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, go to eatprezzo.com. Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. All right, we're back on the Lunchbox, and that's it. That's going to do it for today. I am definitely in a state of emergency here in Dania Beach once again. And yeah, I sent you some video too. It's actually come up another like 4 inches since that
Jesus.
picture. So yeah, and the back, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Once 1,000-year rains and floods somehow are happening every year, but this is the new reality. All right. Oh, I forgot. Thank you.
Just want to make sure we remind people about this because I'm super.
Our friends at Visit Lauderdale and us here at the Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, we're throwing a oyster bash. We're calling it Pearl Jam by the Sea. There will be no performances by Eddie Vedder, but we have the whole Pearl Jam theme, including unlimited oysters, bubbles, a Vitology mixology bar with all kinds of bellinis for your bubbles. It's going to be August 10th, a Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4 p.m. Again, look at that. That is not a typo. Unlimited oysters, unlimited bubbles, live music. I'm also putting together a special oyster slurping contest where the prestigious Pearl Jam necklace will be awarded to whoever can eat 60 oysters the fastest or get them all down in 5 minutes. There will be an array of special guests taking part in that. It could be a fun time. But again, get your tickets. Go to vlfoodwine.com right now and click on the banner that they have for the Pearl Jam by the Sea Festival with our friends at Even Keel Fish Shack right on the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard. It's going to be a fun time. Tickets are now available on eventbrite.com. If you just do a search on there for the Pearl Jam oysters or Even Keel Pearl Jam, you will find your tickets on eventbrite.com. All right, that's going to do it for today. Part 2 of the day evening doubleheader is in question now. But
I was going to say, is it happening?
I don't know. I'm going to have a conference call with Caesar, and at 2:15, I think much
Yes,
of
I
it
was
is.
gonna leave at like 2:30. So
I
please
think
let me
much
know.
of it is predicated on the general conditions around the whole area. Be careful out there, everybody. I hear it's pretty bad. Roadways downtown Fort Lauderdale, and even down in Miami. Apparently, everybody's getting slammed. So stay dry,
Be
stay
safe out
safe,
there.
and until tomorrow, enjoy every sandwich.
The question